Welcome back to VOP this morning. Now, following the revelation that the Chicago State University certificate that President Bola Tinubu presented to the Independent National Electoral Commission was forged, many have charged the Supreme Court of Nigeria to sack and jail the president. The prolonged legal tussle on Tinubu's controversial academic record reached a crescendo after CSU, in a deposition on Tuesday, revealed that it did not issue the certificate the president presented to Nigeria's electoral body. Caleb Westberg, the CSU registrar, said Tinubu's certificate, dated June 22, 1979, and tendered to INEC on June 17, 2022, was not issued by the school, and its administrators could therefore not authenticate its source. Now, following the revelation that the Chicago State University certificate that the president presented to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, was forged, or may have been forged, many have charged the Supreme Court of Nigeria to sack and jail the president. Now, CSU's deposition has sparked reactions among social media users, with many calling for Tinubu's ouster in line with the Nigerian constitution. We do have section 137, subsection 1J of the Nigerian constitution, amended in 2010, specifically states that no one would be legitimately elected president of Nigeria if the person has presented a forged certificate to the Independent National Electoral Commission. Now, citing the Nigerian constitution, a lawyer, Abdul Mahmood, on X, formerly known as Twitter, said the CSU depositions have finally shown that the certificate dated June 22, 1979, Bola Ahmed Tinubu submitted to INEC on June 17, 2022, was not issued by the university. Oh well, that is on social media. Well, the courts will still, deliberate on this, and they will know the ruling. But we do have joining us right here in the studio to talk about this one. Talk about what's been going on in the social media space as regards the certificate of the president, the one he issued to INEC, and what the Chicago State University has released so far. We have with us in the studio Akin Fatunke, a communication consultant and a public affairs analyst. And we also do have joining us virtually, Barrister Eze Eluchie. Good morning to you, Barrister, if you have joined us virtually, and good morning to you too.
Good morning, Moses. Good morning, Joy.
Good morning.
Great pleasure to be here. Good morning, Nigerians.
Now, you are a communication expert, and we know that perception is everything. As it stands now, with everything going on about the president's certificate, the fact that the one presented to INEC may have been forged, what do you make of first of all, the perception from the international community and what is going on currently within the social media space?
Again, thank you, Moses. Communications is voice out, feedback, process, dissect, and disseminate. As far as I am concerned, a lot of lessons to be learned from here, but we get to that downstream, as we say in my profession, oil and gas. What are the facts? Carl Weisberg has made that statement categorical that Bola Tinubu attended their university, but CSU did not issue the diploma that Mr. Bola Tinubu placed at INEC. Facts. The only thing that has not come into these facts from the communications perspective is that Carl Weisberg acknowledged also, in same breath, and we have not looked at that they could not have issued that diploma because such diploma are not issued by the university. It's done by a third party. So if those are facts, then perhaps we need to step back a a little bit. And like I said, we'll get to some of the lessons learned. And that's not only the anomalies we have in there, even from the transcript that has been deposed, the issue of female, the issue of dates, all came out. And Carl Westberg on earth made the deposition to say, yes, things like this could happen. But like you said, Moses, perception at the end of the day is more of reality. And one big lesson that we should learn from here, and that goes for you, Moses, goes for you, Joy, goes for me, and goes for any other person, is that due diligence, making sure that we do not take things for granted. Joy, who is much more younger than me as I'm looking at her, and by far much younger than the politicians that are parading themselves, will fall into that trap. Even today, with technology, with AI, if you do not show the carefulness. So what has happened? The other fact from the communication perspective. Mr. Bola Tinubu, most likely, in the process of wanting to go and get the certification, went to a third party, who this third party is going to be, to now replicate a diploma certificate which he legitimately, you call it de facto, and but the jury either cannot be found, whether he is lied about it, whether it's been stolen, whether the Abacha goons came after him and all that. All those will now be things that I think the courts and forensics will determine. What should happen, ordinarily, Moses, is a situation where if you lose your certificate, if you lose your transcript, you get back to your university, to your institution, and either of two things, they either reissue or they will reissue a photocopy and get it stamped as certified true copy. All this the university could not have done because it's not it's not their process, it's not their style. So having said that, where does that leave us in terms of perception? In terms of perception, my conviction is that forgery in the technical, strictly stricto sensus, name of it, has happened in between. But was it forgery? Was it forgery to deceive? Was it forgery based on facts that the position have now determined, established? I would want to leave that to the courts, because to go beyond that, again, will be sub judice. But I recognize the fact that prima facie, the case of deliberate forgery to deceive for things that has not been earned will be for the lawyers
to decide.
The lawyers to decide, one, and two, careful again. What is Mr. Atiku Abubakar going to be presenting to, say, the Supreme Court, where he's going to, or he wants to start all over again in terms of facts? I don't know. You don't know. But we can all continue to speculate.
Well, today is the day. Today is the day. So,
so maybe we wait for the end of today to now then see what exactly
which angle they're taking it from.
They are taking it from. We are speculating. So the lawyers go to court, establish that prima facie forgery has happened to deceive, or in the course of going to third parties, here and there, clerical errors. By the way, when I also talked about clerical errors, that from Nigeria and from so many other countries, things like that do happen, and such clerical errors he has taken with his full chest that that can happen.
Okay, let's now bring Barrister Eze Eluchie into this conversation. Good morning to you, Barrister. Thanks for joining us this morning. Now, our guest in the studio has established that, well, he did say technical, there's a in the technical sense, forgery may have occurred. Well, netizens are saying this is what it should be. The president should be jailed, sacked, and all of that. What's your take on this, really?
Well, you see, we have to be careful of the legacies we leave in Nigeria. Forgery is forgery. And forgery is when you present a document that
Oh, well, we seem to have a glitch in the network there. And all right, we seem to have a glitch in the network there. We do hope that we'll re-establish communication with Barrister Eze Eluche and get his thoughts in. But let's stay with our guest in the studio, Akin. Now, internet users, that's the term for them now is netizens. Now they are asking for, what they are asking for, is it justified?
And before we go to what they are asking for, there's a good book, Joy, that I got used to. Some people call it Book of History, some call it Book of Religion by Christians. So please let me take it as a book of history, and that is the Bible, and which spoke perhaps to what the barrister was trying to say, that we need to be careful. I agree with him 110%. I give him 10% over and above. That morality is on test here, and we must do our possible best to making sure. Like he was saying, forgery is forgery. Forgery is forgery. Theft is theft. Yellow is yellow. Black is black. But when we now have contention, and I see Joy, and I think I see black, that's what I see. That's my perception, which you, Moses, are not seeing. Then we need to go to an arbiter. So the wheel of justice is one that grinds slowly, but must grind very well, and we must be very careful. And it's the reason why, if you see somebody that has stolen from you or whatever it is, and then you want to do mob justice, hey, wait a minute. Sociologists and psychologists say, wait a minute. Yes, he has stolen, but can we go to the depths of why he stole? And they may now then say part of the reasons why he has stolen is hungry and stuff. Does not make it right at the end of the day. It's not going to be in the realm of the judge or the arbiter to judge. That is the process. Morality, what is wrong cannot be right. There's absolutely no doubt about that, and that is the judicial process. Now, is it fair, therefore, for netizens to now constitute that class into judge, jury, and all that? No, it's still also not the process.
All right, do me a favor, please. Please hold on to that thought. Yes.
All right, yeah.
Now let's reconnect with Barrister Eze Eluche and take his own thoughts in. Barrister, you're welcome back.
Am I audible now? Are you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
Good. You see, let us not mutilate issues. Forgery is when you mutilate, when you alter, when you interfere with what a document is. And it's a very clear issue. When you change the date on your birth certificate, or you change the name, or you change the parent, it is forgery. Once you present something that is not what it purports to be. In this instance, Mr. Bola Tinubu presented to INEC what he purports to be the certificate issued to him by Chicago State University. So the issues are very clear. Was that document issued by Chicago State University? And if the answer to that question is no, that means a forgery has occurred. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever to begin to blemish the records or blemish facts. And what does our law say with regards to presenting forged documents to INEC? Section 137, subsection 1J of the Nigerian Constitution clearly provides that when you present, anybody who presents a forged document to INEC is disqualified from that election he partook or he intends to partake in. Now, whether it's the forgery was for whatever reason, we don't even need to go into the reason for the forgery. Was there a forgery? Was the document presented what it is? And clearly, without any equivocations, when the university was asked about that, they said, no, this is not our document. And the lawyer went even further to ask specifics about the signature, about the seal, about the number, the board of governors or whatever. And to each of these, the response was, this is not the document of the Chicago State University. So without any equivocations, there was a forgery committed. And we know the consequences of submitting a forged document to INEC. The risk we take, I have heard what the man in the studio is saying. When we begin to give excuses for crimes, okay, when somebody steals, was there a reason for him to have stolen? Did he intend to do good? What was the intent? Was he going to take back his own stuff? Come on, give Nigerians a break. It is that kind of reasoning that has given Nigeria the very terrible image we have in the international community, that we are a nation that condones evil, that condones atrocities when it meets our needs. And we can see the consequences already. Soon after that issue of it became very clear that the president, the person who occupies the office of president, forged his document. The British authorities decided that Nigerians, over 500 Nigerians who were already practicing nursing in the UK, have to retake their test to be sure that it was not forged and all that stuff. So the consequences of allowing this rascality, this criminality to continue is that it will cost us dearly in Nigeria. Even people like us, like I went to an American university, Georgetown University. I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Tinubu is allowed to get away with this crime. Georgetown now calls all Nigerian graduates back to come and explain what transpired, whether we obtained forged documents. So we have to call it spade a spade.
All right.
And in this instance, the spade is that the person who is now bearing the name Bola Tinubu to Nigerians and who is occupying the Aso Rock seat forged a document before which is submitted to INEC for purposes of elections. And what does the law say? I keep on repeating, and it's unequivocal. Good enough. The Chief Justice of the Federation, Ariwola, has told Nigerians that the justice is not by public opinion, but by what the law contains. So we hope that the Chief Justice and his justices and his members of his panel abide by that advice. The law is unequivocal. The law is not confusing. The language is very clear. Nigerians, please go and read your constitution. Section 137, subsection 1, paragraph J of the constitution is very clear that if you submit a forged document, you are disqualified. So let us not joke with Nigeria. And it is not a matter of net citizens. We understand, we now realize that there is a clamp down on the media. The so-called mainstream media have failed to report on these issues. In fact, when this news broke out, it was only This Day newspapers that reported on it. All other newspapers, the so-called mainstream, refused to report on it. So Nigerians have gone online because it is where the world is now. The world has gone online, and we have to state the fact. The fact is, if a forgery was committed, then the law must take its course. Let us not prevaricate on these issues. Let us not try to blemish it like the man in the studio is trying to do.
No.
Let us be factual, not only for our sake, but for the sake of our own children also.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister Eze. That was a lot to take in. Now to you, Mr. Akin. Okay, we already know the state of the country.
Yeah.
Do you think this demand by the netizens would throw the nation into more anarchy, like a higher degree of anarchy than it already is, if, the courts goes through with charging Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the crime of forgery?
Thank you, Joy. You called me by my name, so I am not man. With Barrister Eze, I never met you, so I don't think it's very neat to say that man sitting in the office, but I know things like that happen. And The constitution that you have rightly quoted, section 127, subsection J, is clear. The only difference between you and I is that I believe we should go through the due process. And please, this is not a fight. You have said a forgery has been committed. Your opinion. Let a third party look at it intrinsically. That is justice. We can't go into mob justice. Enjoy. Do I feel that the date is it, or the way I felt, or perhaps the way he feels, or perhaps the way any other person feels better? No. It's not an issue. And if you ask me to predict now, I can predict and tell you that whatever it is at the end of the day, the truth will come out. And when that truth comes out and that truth does not sleep well with you, let's be careful in the way we throw stones. Barrister Eze is making the point that because he went to school in the US, so they are going to now want to call him back and call the nurses back and all that. It's been an online, it's been on.
But
whether this came in or did not come out, I have tried to go out of Nigeria a couple of times, many years ago, and my green passport has always been a red flag. So my point is simple. It's not a question of trying to color. It's not for me to color. And if a case of forgery is finally established, despite the deposition that CSU will never have issued that, it's clear, nobody says CSU issued that. But if they went to a third party and one thing or the other now happened, let the forensics and the judges decide. So that is just my point. But I know that the jury is going to come out sooner than later. The international community and all that is not in any way trying to give a soft landing to either Bola Tinubu or Atiku Abubakar, who's taking it to court, who also has an issue about name, where is he from and all that, or for that matter, a Peter Obi. I'm not trying to bring them in. My point is that our political class, our elite class, have all been compromised. And I agree with Barrister Eze that if he is found culpable, the process should go on. If he's found culpable, then cut his head. But if it's not found culpable, this is not the time for us to now begin to demarket Nigeria, to now begin to now then throw stones and all that. Hey, come on. It's just the process that I'm talking about. Pure and simple. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Akin.
Yeah.
Now to you, Barrister Eze. This whole thing is coming a little. Don't you think this is? I don't know. This is almost how many days in Bola Ahmed's administration, you know, and all of this is coming to play. Do you think the INEC should have done better in investigating all the records they got, you know, during the campaign, during the whole campaign process, you know, to ensure that these documents were validated before even, you know, permitting a candidate to be part of the elections in the first place?
Yes, thank you very much. Let me clear one issue, because Mr. Fag Tunke, I didn't get the name, sir, but apologies, I didn't want to slight you by calling you a man. I didn't know the name.
That's okay. That's okay. So well understood.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Yes. So the fact is, it was a document presented to INEC. Yes.
Yes.
What the owners of that document, have they acknowledged it as theirs? No. They have actually said they don't have anything like that. That means a forgery has occurred.
Yes.
Now, what he's talking about is how the Nigerian courts will take it. A forgery has occurred. But with regards to referring to some Nigerians as net citizens, it's unfortunate and it's insulting. A Nigerian is a Nigerian, whether you are in government or you are in position or you are on the internet or you are wherever, a Nigerian is a Nigerian. There is nothing like net citizens that do whatever. Now, for our own sake, the question you asked was, should INEC have done a better job? Certainly. But the candidate himself should have ensured he did a good job, because how many candidates do we have for election? Several thousands, tens of thousands. INEC cannot be spending all its resources going to Chicago, going to Boston, going to Gabarungala to look at certificates or results. So INEC has a presumption that even the political parties have done their due diligence before submitting a candidate's records to INEC. So it is now at this stage, when the case is before the court, that any party who feels aggrieved can actually say, okay, this is a forged document. And as our rules say, the Supreme Court can actually look at this document, even if it's coming in late, as long as it comes in before judgment is delivered. If the Supreme Court allows it in and determines that, yes, truly a forged document was presented, then it's all over. I mean, you see, that we're even having a discussion on this is part of the problem of the image of Nigeria. Just like we had a discussion on what A-N-D means, the world begins to wonder what is going on in this country. Are there no, what do they do in schools in this country? So let us think of the future. Let us not personalize it. The issue is not even Atiku or P2B or whatever. The issue is, what are we sending? What is the image we're sending to the international community? And we have to be extremely careful. Nigerians have to be extremely careful. Let me give this example. When we had the opportunity to deal with a criminal who was a governor, James Onanafe Ibori, we failed to do that locally. We had to allow this issue to go to the international community, and it required a court in UK, in London, and the police to arrest him in Dubai before the same person who we were calling His Excellency in Nigeria was put into jail. Is that what we want to pass Nigeria through again? Let us tell the world that we have a system that works. And the beauty about this process is this. With what the so-called, what my friend in the studio calls net citizens, what is achieving is this. The world now knows that millions of Nigerians are opposed to forgery and fraud and are ready to come out and talk about it.
All right.
If we had all kept silent and kept quiet,
may I interrupt you at this point and still ask you this question? Are Nigerians really averse to forging papers? We know that it's not news that a lot of Nigerians alter their ages, especially those that are looking for civil service jobs. They alter their ages so they could stay longer in service. Isn't that the same thing? Isn't that forgery? Now,
yes.
Having said that, let's also juxtapose this with the case of the young girl, Miss Oma, who was said to have altered her result. Did she sit for the exam? Yes. Did she pass? Yes. She got a mark that was above the cutoff mark. And then did she alter it to be, to appear as the highest goal, the highest scorer?
Yeah.
Yes, she did. Is that not a Nigerian thing?
No. Now let me respond to that.
Please do.
I have never forged a document, and I have friends who have gone through the civil service and have never forged documents. So we cannot say many Nigerians. It is even the civil servants who forge their age or who forge documents. What percentage of Nigerians are they? Let us not use that infinitesimal number to judge Nigerians. If you go to the rural areas, how many people have forged documents? How many people lie? How many people get into falsehoods as a routine? You'll be shocked. The answer is actually low. But the problem we have is that when you have these forgers, these criminal elements occupying high echelons of public office, then it gives the impression that forgery is a Nigerian thing. No, forgery is not even a Nigerian word, it's an English word. So the British, the Americans, they even forge more than Nigerians. But what happens in their countries? They penalize you when you are caught forging.
Exactly.
Now, if we allow forgery to become a norm, if we don't penalize those who we catch when they have forged, then that's when the world has all the right to call you and I a country of forgers. Like what Trump, when he referred to Nigeria as, sorry for using this word, shithole countries, African countries. It is because of our willingness to acquiesce to this kind of criminality. We are using this opportunity now to tell the world we are not shithole country. We are a country of upright people that want to punish criminality and forgers. So this is a unique opportunity for Nigerians to tell the world that we're not who you are. So if we're able to prove, if we're able to make sure that the law, our law takes hold and punishes a forger who has used unscrupulous means to attain the highest office in the land, then the world will doff off their hearts for Nigerians. But if we miss this chance, then my dear, we can forget about Nigeria. Already the consequences are playing out, and more will play out. If your green passport was a problem before, now even Cotonou, Benin Republic will demand a DNA of your parents before you travel, if it is allowed that somebody who forged his document sits in Aso Rock, attends Nigerians meeting and represents us. My dear, can you imagine this? If the president in this situation, when the facts are known, goes to any foreign country, and with the normal things now, you have the time for question and answer with your host country. Guess what will happen? Sir, how did you forge these documents? How the Kano State University says the document you presented was forged. That becomes the issue, and not investment, not opportunities, not diplomatic protocols. The question everywhere Mr. Tinubu goes now will be, sir, what happened? How did you get these signatures? Who is this third party? My dear, what you call a third party is a criminal agent, because there should be no third party between a degree awarding institution and the candidate and who he presents it to. Any third party is a criminal. So stop calling. Let us not beautify criminality.
All right.
When you use the word third party,
all right,
people begin to wonder.
Let's get the views of
perspective.
Yes,
well,
of
I'm happy you are so patriotic for a Nigerian. I'm also a Nigerian. I'm proud of Nigeria. It doesn't matter whether Trump calls me a shithole. I think he is much more of a shithole. Okay. And I hold my chest to say to you, my dear barrister, and to Nigerians, I'm proud of Nigeria. We are saying exactly the same thing. On one score, you said, if proven, all I am saying, why don't we go through that process of proving? Now, you mentioned, Mesoma, a fraud was established because the issuing authority that is JAMB refused to say this didn't come from us. In this particular wise that we are talking about, yes, we have said this does not come from us. It has come from third party. That is their process and procedure. Go check it out. You say you studied out there. I am not one that will kill my country on account of one man or two men. I agree with you. We are saying exactly the same thing. Just because, and I disagree with you, Barrister Eze, to say that the issue of falsification has not been Nigerian. Come on. It's been with us for ages. The strength of persecuting and ensuring we bring to book those who are errant has not been with us. We shouldn't pretend about that. Is that in any way that trying to say President Bola Tinubu should be allowed to go?
Let off the hook.
Nobody's saying that. Nobody can say that. Why don't you? Because you can't reprobate and appropriate in your case. Let it go through the normal process. The wheel of justice grinds slowly, but it grinds so very well. It does not matter, and I keep on saying it. Some years back, I was in Singapore. When I say some years back, more than 10 years ago, everything was going on fine, including the Cameroon that you mentioned was allowed to go. But they saw my green passport and they asked me to step aside. I did that with a smile because I understood it's called emotional intelligence. I didn't know they were watching me on CCTV. So when the guy now then eventually called me and said, "Are you from Nigeria?" I said, "Yeah, I'm from Nigeria. You are very much unlike the other Nigerians that I see boisterous." I said, "I understand because we've had bad eggs all over. On account of that, he allowed me to pass." This is the Nigeria I represent. Even if it's just for one particular person, we are good people. Yeah. I agree with you, my dear barrister. If this is found culpable, in spite of this position that CSU has given, and they have talked about clerical errors or not clerical errors, let a third party judge. I will not throw a stone. And you also mentioned the fact that if President Bola Tinubu goes out, so you are looking at President Bola Tinubu, you are not looking at yourself, you are not looking at some other persons, even as we speak now.
But he's the man in the eye of the storm, right?
He's the man in the eye of the storm. All of us, all of us are involved in this one way or the other. All I am saying is that allow it. Today will be a day and it will go to court and all that. Don't let us judge before the judges. And don't let us begin to now give the impression, which is another hidden thing, that our judges do not have the common sense and the gumption to do right. If that has not been done well in past, does not now put all of us under chains. Simple. That is my simple. If Mr. Bola Tinubu has been found to forge in the technical definition of forgery, he will face the music. There's no doubt about that. And I agree with him that the Supreme Court justices can reopen. They can reopen. It is their prerogative. It is wrong morally going there to now be pontificating. Allow them to do their job. Don't teach them how to do their job. I know it grinds the nose of quite a number of people, but that is the way. I want people to throw stones at my country, at my house. I will not be the first to hold that stone. I will not be the first to hold that stone because that will be self-immolation. Because at the end of the day, what if, big question, and let's put this down now. What if, for whatever reason, it doesn't go that other way? I will have killed my house, I will have killed my whatever it is. So let's wait for that same process. We may as well get to a place where we become very, very, very clean because the president of the country has quote unquote forged. Yeah, he will go down for it. It will not determine, in my opinion, because the Singapore thing that I went, I didn't know they were trailing me. It was at the Chibok, Chibok thing. So a Japanese came to me and said that we hear that so many things are going on in your country. Her expectation was, because some other Nigerians have come, no, it's not going to happen. I said, yes, it happened. We were negligent. They surrounded me, being the only black person, that if this person can say the truth, then that's the way we should be going. But that truth is such that we will try and prove that you have not only crossed the Rubicon, we'll go give it to another party to have another look at it. Those who are trained in that, people who are trained in forensics, and when they do that, then let's just all abide. I will abide by it, my barrister. If our president has been found to forge, he goes down for it. But if, perchance, he has not, that is not trying to play with words. If he has not found to pamper what, I should not be the one that should put a noose round the neck of my country. That is the only difference I have.
All right, then.
All right, thank
No
you
problem.
so much, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Akin. Now to you, barrister.
Can I just respond briefly to something he said?
Oh, okay. All right, go ahead.
Let me just say briefly to this. Yes. You see, in mentioning, Mr. Fatuke mentioned Mesoma's case, that
I did,
once
actually.
the issuing
I
authority,
brought it up.
He did.
once the issuing authority said this was not my document, it was a forgery. In this instance, the issuing authority, Chicago State University, says it's not my document, it's a forgery.
No,
Now,
it's not
the
their
issue that is
document.
now
They
before us
said
is-
so. We all agree.
It's good.
There's
And they say,
no
when the
contention
man
on
said
that.
third party, When he said third party was, it is not us. He cannot know whether it's a criminal or whoever. That's why he used the word third party. So there is no issue. Forgery has clearly been committed. Now, if like Mesoma, Mr. Bola Tinubu now comes out and apologizes to Nigerians, blah, 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 we can now look at that. But whether forgery has been committed, without any doubt, a document was forged and presented to INEC. So like you rightly said, the judges have to be informed that
I agree with you on that 100%. I agree with you with that 100%. The only point of difference between you and I now is that you are saying that now, and I'm saying wait a little while, tarry a little while, a few more days.
For who?
That's all. For the system, we have a process. We have a system.
It's already done.
No. We have a process and a system. Nigeria operates under the rule of law. That is the last time I checked. Okay, so it's not a democracy.
We hope so.
And you are talking about netizens and all that. You cannot tell me that we have seen so many things that has happened on social media that has destroyed people unjustly. We can't say that. I am a Nigerian. I use the internet system, but I use it responsibly.
Yes.
And another area that we have to look at here.
All right then.
All right. Thank you so much.
Well, we do have four more minutes to round this before we go to the next.
4 minutes.
Next topic.
Yes, to round up on this particular topic.
Okay.
So to you, Barrister Eze, you can just wrap this up with your final thoughts as well. What do you think the impact of this saga would be on the Chicago State University itself?
Well, I mean, we should be bothered more about the impact on Nigeria. Chicago State University has its own processes and it has a way of overcoming this. They only came out with this position because it got to a stage that they knew that somebody has to be in jail if they lie based on a deposition. That is why the blunt facts are now emanating, and those facts are irrefutable. And that is what Nigeria should act on so that we don't become a pariah in the international community. We should be more worried about the impact on Nigeria. And for me, the impact on Nigeria, if we continue to parade a character who has forged a document as our president, it becomes questionable. Every Nigerian becomes more and more questionable when he steps out of the shores of this country. Okay. Even within Nigeria, what legacy are we leaving for the children? We are not telling them that, look, if you can't get it anyhow. Go and forge documents, go and cheat, go and rob, go and steal, go and commit crimes. And we should desist from that. In fact, I have said, if this scam pulls through, then perhaps we should think of scrapping the EFCC, the NDLA, virtually all our law enforcement agencies. We should think of scrapping them because it means that criminality is no longer a crime. You can have excuses, you can wriggle around it. Yes, thank you.
Okay, Barrister Eze, what do you think the president should do, morally speaking, now? Or do we just have to sit back and wait for the court to give their verdict?
Yes, what he should do if he loves Nigeria is not even to resign, because resigning will mean that his deputy will take over. Politically speaking, practically speaking, the ticket becomes invalidated. I mean, the ticket of the ABC presidential ticket becomes invalidated because what affects the president also affects his vice. So what they should both do is to go through the court process and let the court adjudicate over this matter and declare the APC candidature of both Mr. Bola Tinubu and Kashim Shettima invalid. And that is the only way. Nigerians will not tolerate a resignation at this stage. He has already gotten in. He has told the world that is the president. We will not accept a resignation. He should be there until when this issue is properly determined by the court.
Okay. So
all right then. So let's have your final thoughts.
My own concluding thoughts is that ordinarily I will be with him, except that I want to go through those normal process. I will not make a call now, and I will be fair and very equitable. The Chicago State University, your question, what is going to be the outcome? They came out on oath. They posed to the fact that the president of Nigeria, as we have him right now, attended their school. they did not issue a certificate. They don't issue certificates. And so the case of forgery needs to be established and deposed with. So that's number one. Number two, I disagree with Barrister that if at the end of the day, because we asked a very interesting question, if at the end of the day, the president goes down with this, two things should happen. We have a vice president that should come on board. So you cannot now be saying, on account of that, throw away the baby with the bathwater. No, don't do that. Or, in worst case scenario, the Supreme Court should declare the second person that came out from this election as president, asking that we should all go and start all over again, begin to smell, in my opinion, of some other agenda. At the end of the day, what do I see happening? Nigeria is going to come up stronger. Nigeria is going to come up much more redound and resound. It does not matter on what side of the divide we stay. And it comes down to the fact that the leadership question in Nigeria will continue to dog us. Whoever eventually emerges, people will naturally go dig legally or legally and all that. Do you have a way of having children and all that kind of thing? Are you black or are you white? Are you transgender and all that? We always continue. Common sense at the end of the day will prevail. We are different countries.
And common sense is what exactly?
Sorry?
Common sense is what exactly?
Common sense is...
in this regard.
2 plus 2 is equal to 4. 4 plus 4 may not be equal to 8 under the binary system. That's common sense. When you have common sense and you marry it with emotional intelligence, that's why you have developed societies grow. Point. CSU is acquitted itself very honorably. All the alumni and alumni that have come out of those universities should hold their head high that their university have not done the wrong thing. Back in Nigeria, we need to establish if fraud has technically taken place. Then at the end of the day, going down, my expectation is that President Bola Tinubu, whether he scales this or doesn't scale this, he owes an explanation at an opportune time to come out to the world and tell us his own truth, because we are all conjecturing in here. That will be my point. I still believe Nigeria can stay. We are different, religion, class, clan, and all tendencies. And it's shown that we are different countries. But we can harness ourselves, sitting around the table, and, like I said, Moses, applying common sense. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Fatum Care, for staying with us on the program. And I must say a very thank you to Barrister Eze Eluche, but we were not leaving yet, are we?
No, we're not. Up next on VOP this morning, CPPE and MOMAN leaders rally for refinery sale, demanding competent managers. Details in a moment. Stay with us.